Hey guys, how you doing on this fine Tuesday, right?
Yes.
It is Tuesday, and don't mind me here. I'm just trying to get this shared out to our other podcasts, which I just did. So we are good to go there. But let's get this rolling. I'm Andy Vitale, host of My Fight Our War and co-host of My Brother's Keeper, a biker's podcast with Thomas Vestergaard. And we have a special guest coming on today. It was supposed to be yesterday. Um, we had some things going on, and I'm sure by now some of you saw the post. Um, Unfortunately, lost a family member, and it's been rough, very rough going for the past few
Couple weeks.
actually
Right?
months for
Yeah.
my cousins. They my lost my Aunt Joanne, who is just an amazing, amazing woman. You know, but I just want to thank you guys for the outpouring of love and support. It means the world, and thank you very much. And we'll discuss that a little bit more as, like I said, this literally just happened. So, but thank you for the love and support, and that's what we are here for, and that's why we're here tonight to talk to Phyllis Klaiber. And Phyllis was on our show in the past and has well, let's get OG on here. And
Yeah, there we go.
we had Phyllis on, and it was very soon after she had a very, you know,
Tragic.
tragic incident that happened that we're going to discuss and recap and go forward that she shared with us. And I had the pleasure of, talking to her during that show. And not only that, but I had the pleasure of meeting her in person when we went down to Athens, Alabama
Amen.
for the Addiction Eviction
So
Rally
good.
with Lori and the incredible people in Athens, Alabama. Thank you again so much for the love and support that you guys gave us. That means everything. Thank you. Thank you. And we are going to get Phyllis on. And so many things have happened in the first time that we had Phyllis on up until now, and especially what we witnessed firsthand at the rally that a lot of us saw, but we all have our own take of what we took away with it from what we saw. So with that, let's get Phyllis on here. Hey, Phyllis,
Hey guys.
how
Oh,
are
there
you?
she is.
I'm
Yay.
good.
You know what? Here in the past, it was, we'd have people come on, and a lot of them we've never met in person. Well, we can't say that because we got the pleasure of meeting you in person and getting those big old hugs.
Wonderful.
We got
The
those.
pleasure was mine. I'm glad you
Oh,
guys went to Waffle House.
oh my God! I tell you what, it was such a nice time just getting to meet everybody in person. I mean, it's great talking to you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
we would chit chat, through our posts, through our comments, through the videos and all that, but just be able to sit there and sit down in person, it was just awesome. So thank you for that. And you know what, OG's got some work to
Put
do,
me
so
up
I'm going
because
to
I
pop
am.
you out
I'm
of
talking
here.
to folks already.
Yeah, we already got people popping on here. Thank you guys so much for your comments. But Phyllis, yeah, we got to do a little quick recap here. We had you on, um, already, and do you remember how long ago it was? Because I don't have the date in front of me.
Let's see. Let's see, he's been gone. It was in May, June, July 14. I'm thinking Trey had been maybe. Did I know you guys before I went into Tutwiler the first time, or did I? No, I talked about going into Tutwiler.
Yes.
So I think it was about maybe back May 14, not 14 months ago, about 9 months ago, maybe. Because I think Trey had passed maybe 4 months. And then, I talked about going to the prison and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, you came
pretty
on.
rough still.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot exactly how soon it was.
I remember telling you at the rally, you thought it'd been a couple years.
Long.
Yeah, no, it's.
But you know what? so much has happened since then. But give us let's just the ones who didn't see the first time you were on. Why don't you go back and let people know exactly why you are here and what the of events that happen, and then once we get that, we'll kind of move forward into everything that's happened since then with you.
What my plan, was or is still trying to get on as many podcasts as I can, and talk about a young mother. I was a young mother trying to raise my son, but I was a full-blown addict and alcoholic myself, and it was hard. It was tough, and Trey started doing his stuff at 12, 13, 14 years old, and then fast forward, we've been very, very close, and he thought that he can drink alcohol, and then alcohol took over his life. And ultimately, my son died 14 months ago of addiction. Alcoholism, addiction, same thing to me, it was really hard, really hard. The first 4 months, if I could have died of a broken heart, I think I would have, Trey was my best friend. He was my ride or die. My daughter explained it the best. She's never seen two people go so hard at each other, but love each other even harder. But I got to a point where I didn't want to live like that anymore either. And I promised my son that I would always take care of his kids. And I had to snap out of it. And my higher powers was the only way I was going to get around this. There was no beating around the bush. It was either I turn my life over to God or I'm going to be miserable. So when I finally let go and let God, it's just God. Some people have a higher powers. Some people, but mine is God. Mm-hmm. And when I finally gave my life to Him totally, things got better, softer. I don't think it's ever going to get better. It's going to get softer. It got softer. Going on that cruise, I went on a cruise that I've been paying for a long time, and God just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I was floating around on that cruise. I felt like I had a spiritual cleansing. I felt that my mind, body, and soul was getting lighter, and it wasn't that hard trudging to get out of that thing. Or if I had steel-toe boots on, I just felt like I couldn't move. I was so stricken with grief and hurting so bad from losing him, but I had to keep going. I had to keep going forward. So swimming with the stingrays and kissing a dolphin, I guess, did the trick, Manny. I don't know.
Hey, you know what, Phyllis, one thing that you said that we talked about a little bit before we went on is something that someone said to my mom when my father passed away, because someone said something about moving forward, it'll get easier or get over it or something like that. And when it was our priest, he goes, "You'd never get over it. You just go through it." And
exactly.
What you just said there kind of just flashed in my mind, so as you were talking about going through this. It's not like you get over something like that. You go through it. So,
and then I had this bird land on my hand, and it was like all different kinds of colors. I'm like, oh, well, if this isn't a God moment, I don't know what is. But it's gotten softer, and I'm a tough sponsor. I don't say that, I don't walk around glass with them. I don't tiptoe through anything, and when they don't call me for a week or two, and then they call me when their ass is falling off, put your ass back on, get to a meeting and listen, you don't call me when your world's falling apart. That's when you call me when we walk through this stuff. I don't believe a lot of people talk about how relapse is part of recovery. Bullshit. I don't believe in that. And that's just my personal opinion. It happens, I think, after the second or maybe the third time, but the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and they keep relapsing like I did. I relapsed for 40 years. And that's the honest to God truth, because I did not believe that my life was unmanageable. The alcohol and drugs were kicking my ass, but my life was manageable. It was okay to eat out of garbage cans, or it was okay not to have a shower or live without electricity, But then when I finally at 50 got sober, something changed in me, and I started building boundaries with Trey. Not all the way, but some. There's times I kicked him to the curb, but there was times I loved on that child. And I still miss him and I still love him, but I'm keeping my promise to him. I'm bringing those girls to that eviction rally. It
Amazing.
was hard. That was hard.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if I wanted to, and I'm getting emotional about it because I don't know if I wanted to kill her and finish it or just pull her into my arms and tell her, you can stop doing this. When she told me, I talked to her when she told me this is what I do. No, you're in pain somehow, Kelly. Somehow there's addicts out there that want to get screwed up, but 99 of alcoholics or addicts that are drinking or heavily using because there's some underlying crap, that trauma or pain that they haven't dealt with. So they keep drinking and drugging thinking that it's going to go away.
And that's exactly it too. With it comes to addiction, and I always talk firsthand. I will never put words in anyone's mouth either.
Right.
The one thing that I always said is I will never sugarcoat anything. Just like you, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat things. But when I talk about my issues and what I believe that works and what should be done, I'm talking about myself, because we all, as we said earlier, is what works for one won't work for the other, and what works for that one won't work. So we all have to find out what works for us. And and yeah, sometimes, like we said before going live, sometimes it depends on the situation. You need those tender, loving, hugs, and everything's going to be okay at certain moments, followed by a good kick in the ass. I mean, it depends on the moment. There is no manual. There is no playbook when it comes to this. We take it as it comes. And with your son and you had your issues that you're dealing with at the exact same time. So you talk about double jeopardy, man, and so much going on. It was just incredible
It was
that,
tough. When I got sober, he didn't. I don't know. It's like, his mom, his partying mom's gone. I used to, and I'm lay it all out there. I did some stuff with him that I'm not proud of, but I did, and that's just point blank, period. But when I got sober, I really was trying to help him get sober. And he just could not grasp it. Dr. Phil, Captain Recovery, I don't care, Trey, call me what you need to call me, buddy, but it's working for me. I've had a couple of sponsees tell me they're not getting what they need out of AA or NA, but they're getting what they need out of church. I don't care where they get it. Just get it. Just stay sober and clean. That's all you need to do is just stay sober and clean, whether you get it through church or whether you get it through these meetings. To each its own. I do both. I go to church and I go to AA, but that's because that's what I've been going to AA since I was 12, and I believe there's people out there that are born with addiction or born with alcoholism. I think I'm one of them, because when the minute I put a beer in me, it was off to the races. It wasn't, I'm just going to drink a few. No, I'm going to drink until I get blind running drunk. And that was my mentality already.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to, that's why I, love having people come on sharing their stories, and we can all relate. I can relate to what you're saying, but what's even more beneficial to what we do is for the parents, the siblings, the family members who have never drank, have never done drugs, but all of a sudden they're blindsided by their loved one who is like, hey, listen, they dropped the bomb that they're addicted to heroin, alcohol, whatever it is. They're addicted now. So I hear their family member is like, I've had so many say, what did I do? How did I fail? That this isn't about you doing something wrong. This is about us taking responsibility. And, again, you hit it with, do what works for you. Because I've had people tell me, well, in fact, I had someone tell me, you need to do the AA, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. You have to, like you said, we have to find what works for us, and just, and never stop, never stop looking. If this doesn't work, okay, try something else.
You know, and I've done, I mean, I don't have nothing against these other Narcotics Anonymous or any of that. I
Mhm.
just don't vibe with that. You know, I don't, they run the same program. They run the same steps, um, I've met a couple addicts that I'm an addict are snobs. Okay. It's like, well, we're addicts. We're not alcoholics. Like it's all the same shit. You're addicted. All the same shit.
Mhm.
I'm not going to sit there and say I'm an addict and, I'm an alcoholic too. I'm cross addicted. A lot of meetings they get offended when you talk about drugs. Well, they can, whatever. That's part of my story.
Mhm.
Back when I was going, when my dad was old, that was just forbidden. You don't talk about that crap. But now, people talk about it all the time. You know, um, I go to a meeting, Hearts will Hope, that there's some old timers in there that just, kind of roll their eyes up in their head, but they get over it. I have a hard time telling my story at places like that. I am comfortable doing it here. I don't get to see everybody but you and, the other one, Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Lynn, OG, whatever you want to call it, it's okay.
Yeah,
You know
I'm
what,
comfortable,
Phyllis?
but I don't like talking in front of an audience. I don't know does that make sense, or am I
Oh,
just crazy?
no, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Before I started doing this, I didn't like talking to myself. Now you can't shut me up. When you have a passion like this, but talking about how different people they consider, like some people are functioning alcoholics. It's like, so I'm not an alcoholic because no, you still are. But like for me,
Yeah.
yeah, but like for me, I remember thinking I'm not an addict. I don't have an issue because I never touched a needle. That was my bar. If I never
Right.
got, I don't have a problem. But here I'm stinking drunk doing everything else. But I've never done this, or this. So I'm here. I am making these bullshit, statements that if I, which is just another more of manipulation and more of our addicts being addicts bullshit trying to put on a front. But
You know what's funny? I didn't want to be an alcoholic, but I'd be an addict. I did
yeah,
not want to be an alcoholic, but I'll be a drug addict all day long. I think
yeah.
it's because the stigma. I always thought that alcoholics are men that slept under the bridges or
Oh,
winos walking around in their bag with their paper bag,
you know what, Phyllis? I got to tell you something. What you just said, I had a guy give me shit one time talking about this guy. He supposedly never did drugs, alcohol, whatever. And he goes, you know what? You could tell those people. I'm like, those people? I go, what do you mean? He goes, alcoholics and drug addicts. And he goes, I could tell, who they are. I'm like, oh, how?
Oh,
And he
yeah.
goes, well, I go, how can you tell an alcoholic? He goes, oh, they're staggering around, probably piss their pants with their bottle of booze in a bag. I mean, he just gave the whole bullshit stereotypic description. I go, okay. I go, so what about the drug addict? He goes, well, in the alley with a shoelace tied around their arm, full of puke and all this. I go, oh, so that's a drug addict.
Yeah.
So that CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company who just excused himself from a boardroom meeting to go into the bathroom and shoot up. He's
Right.
not an addict. And then he gets into his limo to go to his next meeting and he's downing a bunch of drinks. He's not an alcoholic. Oh, well, that's different. Why? Because they're not, you just described this. So when you said that, that's like, yeah. And that's people, you'll get that stigma of what it is. And they continue
Yeah,
along.
the functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like with you, I mean, you had to go through so much, like you said, taking care of your demons while helping Trey and doing,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a mother's love.
Yeah.
And that's something that, has got us to where we are now. I mean,
Yeah.
losing like you said, if you could die from a broken heart, that's what you felt. And
Absolutely. And
but
I literally thought I was going to die. I mean, I did not want to be here. People tell me, you've got a daughter, you've got grandkids. None of that mattered. I was hurting so bad. I didn't see past all that.
Mhm,
I just wanted out of the pain. I wanted to be with my son. I wanted to be with Trey, and did none of that mattered.
yeah,
But when I finally got through all that and realized that every single bit of it matters. I want to be alive to see my granddaughter Kate Noel get married. I want to see Lacey graduate from college. She's going to college. I'm so proud of her. This is Trey's oldest daughter. She's 19. Drop dead gorgeous. I mean, she's just, I hate to say it, but what is that? 36, 24, 36 or something like that. She's a shit brick house or something. She's very tiny. She's got blonde hair and blue eyes, and she's just gorgeous.
Little
You know,
heartbreaker.
she's fought her demons too. And I'm not going to go into her story because that's her story to tell. But,
Exactly.
you know, she's come above all that. And I hope that the alcoholism, addiction, or whatever stops with her. It just stops with her. You know, she's doing the whole college experience. I told her she's a nerd. She's going to be, she's nerdy anyway, but what is she studying to be? Let me get this right. Forensic scientist.
Hey.
All right.
I said, hey, I said, you watch too many of those damn movies, Lacey. It's not like that in real life. She's grandma. It can be. I'm like, okay.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, you're fulfilling your statement,
Your
taking
wish to
care of
him.
him
Yeah.
and
Promise to
putting him
him.
in the right direction. And
Let me,
a
I
lot,
need to get, go
a
ahead.
lot of times, people when they're faced with a situation like yours, and see now I can't speak on that. I obviously I have no kids,
Yeah.
and you always hear that the worst thing for a parent is to bury their child.
That's
And
right.
when something like that happens, just like for us as addicts, we got a choice to make, to get sober or not. And then
That's
we got
right.
another choice to make. And I tell people that what we can do is, no one would blame us if we uh, did nothing except take care of ourselves. If we got sober and got our lives together and just, took care of us and our families, and that's it, be the best
Right.
people we can be, no one would blame us for that because you got to
Right.
take care of you first. But you look at most people dealing with addiction, what do? After they get themselves, taken care of, they reach out. They start helping others because that's just in us. Because we know what you're
Right.
going through. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, but I never
Absolutely
planned
not.
on helping people. I never planned on doing any of this. It wasn't just like I didn't wake up one morning and say, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to have breakfast. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to work. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Today's the day I'm going to become an addict. That wasn't on our list to do, but
No.
it happened. So, and just like our family members, they didn't wake up thinking, oh, today's the day that my loved one is going to tell me they're an addict. It wasn't on the agenda. It happened. Now
Mm-mm.
we deal with it and we move forward, just like you said, moving forward. And, by you had a choice. You could, with the tragic death of your son, you could have went, inside yourself and never
Very
came
easily.
out.
And yeah, I could have been balls to the wall so many times.
Yep. But you
I
didn't.
know where all the trap houses are in Atlanta. I've lived there for, 40 something years. I know where all that stuff is. I know could have gotten a hold of it very easily. And I probably would have stayed, away from everybody. But after my week or 2 week or whatever it took me to finally come down, guess what? My son was still up in heaven.
Mhm.
So all that was just a waste of for nothing. The pain is intense. Sometimes I feel the only way I can describe it for someone else, it's like I have this wound, this open wound, and then someone will take some lemon juice and squeeze lemon juice on it and then pour salt on it. But that's how my heart feels. Like I'm just screaming because I'm hurting so bad because I miss him. He was my ride or die. He was my best friend. I love my daughter. I'm not saying I don't. My daughter is my entire world, but I didn't raise her. She was raised by the family that I live here with now. She probably shit. I ain't going back to them too. She already knew that her mom was wacko, and she made some good choices, and we have a very good relationship today. Very good relationship,
See,
and
that's the way you just described that is important because
yeah,
people that have never experienced what you in the loss of a child, they'll never know, what that feels like. I hope they don't. And just like for me though, I tell OG all the time, you know, we were talking one time about what it feels like, for addiction. And I said, for me, again, I can only speak for what it feels like for me. I go, picture, for me, being in a dark hole that's cold and dark and scary and violent and evil, and you can't see a damn thing, and it gets worse every time you breathe and blink.
Right.
That's then you hear something like that. It's like, oh my God, that's what we need to do to let people who don't know what it's like to understand. Yeah, I mean, you put it in those words, it's like, oh my God, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what we feel 24/7 when we're battling this. We need
Right.
to give examples to people that don't know. It's not that they don't care, they don't understand. And that's
Right.
why you doing what you're doing and describing that way. Thank you for that. Because I do the
Yeah.
same thing the way I just did. And but again, back to you, and you know, like we said, you could have just closed up and
Oh, yeah.
done nothing, or you could have, like you said, once this happened, move forward just on your own in your own life, you and your daughter just doing your thing. But it's
Right.
not in our DNA. Just like the addiction is, so
Mhm.
is reaching out, helping people. I mean, look at us all at the rally. I mean, so that brings us to the rally now. Look what
Yeah.
happened. Here you are, a driving force. Lori and everyone else that was there and all that. But then, the people you brought. I mean, what
Yeah.
amazing women that you brought. You want to talk about them for a sec, and
Yeah. I've been, B, I love her. I just absolutely love her. I felt some kind of vibe with her when we talked, and she had been to Tutwiler prison. So she knows the conditions in that place, the when I go inside and what I'm seeing and what I'm dealing with. She knows all about it, And I've been sponsoring her now for about a year, and I just love her to death. Melissa, the one that's from I think she's from New York, isn't she? Back east. Melissa
you
Hood?
know what? I
Yeah, I
remember
think
we
so.
were
I can
sitting
never
at.
keep up with them. Hell, half the time I don't know who I'm sponsoring or what their names are. Okay, so I've been sponsoring her for a while, and I love sponsoring because God puts these people in my life. I call them retreads. I don't know how else to explain it. They get on that merry-go-round and they go round and round and round and round and round, and then they get off and they get clean and sober for a while, and then they go back out and they go round and round and round. I was one of those people,
Mhm.
So he sends me these girls that I don't. I'm guess Gestapo. I just tell them we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. You're going to do the 4th. You're going to do the 5th. And we're just going to keep moving on. We're going to keep it moving. You need to call me. It builds up a trust. If you can't call me for 30 days, how in the fuck do you expect me to trust you when you're going to tell me your deep, darkest secrets?
Mhm.
This is why I want you to call me. It builds a trust, and Jada, I've been sponsoring her for like 3 years. She's my longest one. I remember Jada, she used to complain all the time. I'm working at Wendy. I can't get it. This is not fatal, final, and forever. You need to
Mhm.
say, Jade, I'm an addict and I'm working at Wendy's. You know what that girl does now? She's working at Toyota. She's a lead supervisor. She's making
Oh,
like
God.
$26 an hour. She's 3 years clean. She's got her license. She's got a car. Tell me that the addiction or recovery doesn't work, because it does.
I tell you what, we were sitting with
Congratulations.
everyone at that table. Me and OG were sitting there with B and all of them. We were,
Yeah.
and it was such a blessing, because we were talking a little bit, because a couple of them when we got there came up and introduced themselves as soon as we
Yeah.
got there.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was B or Melissa. One of them said, will you sit with us? When we were eating. Hell yeah, we will. So we went over and sat together.
Yeah.
And it was instant. I remember I told Lori and I told OG, there were times during that meet and greet where I'm just sitting there looking around at B and everybody, and the way that they were interacting together, the just unconditional love and
Yep.
support that those
They gave
women
each
had
other,
for each
yeah.
other.
Mhm.
It was, I tell you, it really got to me, man. I just sat there and just stared and smiled. And
There are times, like I think we were driving to the rally, I think it was, and I just started crying because I
mhm.
started thinking about Trey, and they were so loving and caring.
Mhm.
You guys, I'm like, I don't have control over it. I wish I can just shut it off like that. But there's times I'll be in the store and I have to put the crap down, go out to my car, take a deep breath, pray for a minute, and then go back in.
Yeah.
Because I'm just struck with it. But
Mhm.
they are incredible. I'm so glad they were there. And I tell them how proud I am of them. B's coming up on a year, and Stephanie just got a year. Stephanie and B have got a house that they got, and they're waiting on trying to get a car. And things are falling into place for them. And I'm really proud of them. Really proud of them.
Oh, it was just seeing that bond. And the thing is, too, it comes from who we really are when we can get to that point. And you said it too about safe. You can sit there, and sometimes people are put in a situation. Okay, you're safe here. You won't be judged here. And next thing you know, bam, you're getting hit by someone. You're being bullied. You're being disrespected. When I started my fight our war, first thing I said is this: you will not be disrespected. You will be loved, supported, all that stuff here. But you will get that kick in the ass when needed, and you will not be judged. And you're not going to come here and with expectations, of me and anyone else. You're going to come here with your own, and we're going to help you get those at your pace, not mine, not OG's, not yours, at your own. But yeah, with you meeting you and B and Melissa and Stephanie and the rest of them, it was like,
and they're excited. They're like, we're going on a podcast with Manny. I'm like,
Yes,
I know. Isn't that cool? And I told them, I said, listen, these two are I did my very first podcast when I lost Trey with them. And then I did one with Kalisha, and then I did one with Tim Snyder, and now Kalisha and Tim want me to come back on too. And I'm like, heck yeah. And I love doing this. I'm just hoping it reaches people and let them know, yes, I've lost my son. Yes, I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic. And you can get through this pain. You just have to keep pushing forward. I feel, like I said, I feel lighter. I wish the scale said that shit, but I feel lighter.
I tell you what, you were at that event, we were talking about everything, but then when you kind of pulled me aside and you started talking about the cruise, and it was like, oh, you went on the cruise, and all of a sudden the floodgates open, man. You as you were telling, it went from, man, you went on the cruise, all of a sudden the zip line, this, and I was just like, I didn't say a word. I'm just sitting there looking at you, and as you were talking, you didn't notice, but you were glowing. The smile on your face as you were telling each story, and I just sat there and soaked it all in because it was so nice.
It was awesome. I never in a million, I'm scared to death of stingrays only because of their freaking harpoons. But once, and who is it? That Australian guy that got killed? Steve, somebody.
Kerwin.
You know what I'm talking about? The alligator guy, or what?
Yeah. Steve Kerwin, I think.
He got
and here
killed by
you are swimming with him.
And I'm swimming with the damn things. And I happened to get one that was so freaking big because she was pregnant.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, but how do you know they're pregnant? And then he showed me the top of their skin, the top of their body gets really, really full, like a bubble almost. And I'm like, oh my God. And their harpoons are in the middle. So I'm like, and then I had them swimming through my legs and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Just I'm good. You know,
piss off a pregnant stingray. Yeah. What could worse get
I'm good.
Just like you hear, don't poke, don't mess with Mama Bear. Here you are with a pregnant stingray. Okay.
Just go, get out from under my feet, please. And then doing a high five with a dolphin. I'm like, this is real life.
Didn't you?
Yeah, that was cool. His name was Willie. And Willie the dolphin. And he was getting mad at his trainer, I guess. I guess maybe she had enough training episodes, so she ignored us for a few minutes. We had to let her gather her thoughts. And then she started playing with us, catching a ball or whatever. It was just awesome. The food I tried, I never, people talk about frog legs. I'm like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. I will never do that. That's so gross. I tried frog legs and they're good. They're like chicken. Oh, you want me to play? Okay, get it.
Oh man.
I've already showed OG my cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's half Bengal, and he was supposed to be like long and tall and like a Savannah cat. Oh my God, bring it to me. He wants to play catch with the mouse now, but
Oh,
he's short and fat and wide because I give him wet food. And my daughter's like, "Mom, he's going to die of a heart attack." Well, then he's
and
going
you
to die
just
happy.
described me.
Come
You
here.
just described me, man.
Yeah,
Short fat
Hey,
wine.
Matt. Yeah, he
Oh,
want me to
but yeah,
throw.
yeah. But Phyllis, that just that conversation with
Yeah,
you, and I don't even. And you didn't even realize it. We were just having a
yeah,
conversation, but it just kept. It went from the cruise itself
yeah.
to the zip line to the stingrays to the dog. I mean, you were just on a
Yeah,
roll. And I was
it was
sitting there,
amazing. I
and you
was
could
scared. The first one I went down though, that scared. It was like, oh my God, because it went fast. But then once I saw my adrenaline start pumping, I'm like, okay, this is going to be awesome. So we went down like 5 of them, and then I went bobsledding. And what did he say to me? This right here, ma'am, is the chicken shit. The chicken shit. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean chicken shit? He said, you pull that brake. You don't need to do that. Just leave it alone. So I'm like, oh, okay. I think he's telling me if I get scared to pull the brake. I
Okay.
didn't touch that thing not one time. I screamed all the way down it, but I didn't touch it.
You know what? Facing our fears. You know
Yeah.
what? Face
Mhm.
our fears. But yeah, it was so nice. Just and again, just so people know, that was, even though we've talked quite a few times by video, by show,
Yeah.
by comment, that was the first time meeting it in person, and it was so neat just sitting
Yeah.
right there with you and
Yeah.
just watching the
You
interaction
guys
and
have
just
to come
seeing.
down here again, or I'll have to fly out there. I mean, you guys are
Oh, we'll
incredible
be back.
people,
We'll be back.
Yeah.
But the things that still just are so special about everyone there,
Yeah.
with the intensity with Lori and everyone that was part of that, with what they brought, and with you, and you know, we got to get into what happened. I mean, here we
Yeah.
are at this addiction eviction rally with amazing people telling amazing stories, amazing entertainers, and you know, and here, all of a sudden there's a commotion going on.
Yep.
And everyone is thinking, okay, someone's praying, someone, wasn't sure what was happening at first.
Right.
And what actually happened was individual was there and literally actually OD'd right there at the rally, dropped dead in front of all of us. And when I say drop dead, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be theatrical. I'm not trying to be full of drama here. As Phyllis said, she literally went from talking to flat out on her back to gray, black lips, eyes rolled back. She was dead.
Yep.
And she was hit with Narcan, CPR, and everyone literally, we were there to listen to amazing people's stories, testimonies, entertainment, music, to get the power of our stories across. What a powerful thing that happened. This person, thank God, was
Yep.
saved and came back. And I remember talking to you afterwards. You lost it, and you said,
Yeah.
Manny, that the triggers about Trey.
Yeah.
And I had 2 or 3 other people come up to me after that, and I remember telling them, "You see now, you see what actually happens, because when you're the one that ODs, you don't see what's happening, to
Mm-mm.
you." And I remember that really, really got you. And
Yeah, because
of
and what
course,
I was so mad at Kelly. I said, Kelly, my son died all alone in that motel room. You have so many people that loved you, that didn't even know you, that loved you, and they were praying for you. This was a miracle. I said, I don't know why you think you're a cat and have 9 fucking lives. It doesn't work that way. That was your last pass to freedom. That was your last pass in God's eyes to come to him. I don't know if you have another chance at it. She told me she's been on life support 4 times. Her mother said this is the 19th time
Uh-oh.
that they had to get her back to. And I said, why do you get high, Kelly? Tell me why you get high so I can help you. It's all I've known. I call bullshit.
Hmm.
Then she started telling me she's hurting over losing her kids. She's going to be a grandmother, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know she could ever. I didn't think I'd have 5 minutes clean.
Oh yeah.
But when we started doing it 5 minutes at a time, 5 minutes turned to an hour, then turned into a day, then turned to a month. You know
what, Phyllis? I had when I got out of the hospital, and here I was supposed to be dead. They gave me 6 weeks in
Right.
the hospital,
I'm
and I
listening.
remember I met this guy, and he was the one. He was sober for. Phyllis is frozen.
Well, she can probably hear you. So you can keep talking.
Hopefully, you can still hear me, Phyllis. But the
I
individual. There you
Okay.
go. This individual I met, I knew he was sober for a long time. And I go, I know you've been sober a long time. How long? And he goes, I've been sober 35 years. And I just, whoa. And he goes, he goes, I know you're sober now. He goes, how long you been sober? And I remember I looked at him and I laughed. I went, a month. And he goes, how long? And I said, just 30 days. And I laughed again. He goes, what do you laugh? Why do you laugh? And I said, you've been sober 35 years. I've only been sober a month. He goes, when's the last time you were sober a month? And I was like, never. He goes, I had to be sober 30 days before I was sober for 35 years. I will never forget that. Never forget that. It was just like,
it's right. He's right.
Yeah. And just like you just said, 5 minutes, you know what? That's 5 minutes longer than I was before. And that 5 minutes just turned into 35 minutes.
Right. I had an awesome stepfather. I met Pete, who raised me when I was 12. I met him at 12. My stepfather raised me from the time I was 12. Yeah, his name was Pete Dione, Frenchman.
My dad's Pete. That was my father, Pete.
Yeah, Pete Dione. And he already had like 17, 18 years of AA under his belt when he married my mom. But he already saw a pattern. He knew that something was wrong. That's why he brought me to meetings, and all the other kids got to go out there and play. But over the years, when I would call home, my mom knew. She would hand the phone right to my dad. She didn't even want to talk to me. And then my dad would give me these stories. Easy does it. Keep it simple, stupid. Get your head out of your ass. Take the cotton out of your fucking ears. Put it in your mouth. He didn't cut me any slack. So I had periods of sobriety. I didn't get all the way there, but I know he's down there looking down on me now and saying, damn, just damn, and he was an awesome, awesome man. And I've learned a lot of things from him. He had, I think when he passed, it was like 37 years. Now, my brother, Pat, he died in my mom's bathroom of an overdose, and, I thought for sure it was heroin. He was a heroin addict, but my brother saw the exchange. They didn't see any exchanging going on, but they saw Vera. She was the known drug addict. My brother shot himself such a lethal dose of morphine, it caused him to have a heart attack. They got him back 3 times, but my mom said, no, that's it. And I'm glad that she made that decision, because he would have been on a vegetable. I wouldn't have wanted to remember my brother like that. I just recently lost a cousin maybe 3 months ago to suicide, but because of alcoholism, depression. She was already depressed, and she kept drinking and kept drinking, and she got more depressed and more depressed and more depressed. She didn't want to be here anymore. It blew my mind, so it's all in my family. It's all on my dad's side. Now, my dad, Fred, he killed somebody drinking and driving. And I didn't know that until I was, in my 30s, and back then I think he had to do weekends. I don't know. I only saw my dad, Fred, who was my biological father. I saw him drunk one time, just one time, but he wasn't around a lot. And I thought he was sick because he had leukemia. My mom and him were separated a lot because of his drinking, but I think my mom said he had like 8 or 9 months under his belt again when he passed away of leukemia. So he died sober. So, I was glad to hear that. But I really believe that it can be very hereditary.
Oh yeah.
I have the family line, everybody on my cousin's side. I've lost cousins to addiction and alcoholism and suicide. It's all rampant on the Klaiber side. Us Irishmen like to drink. German and Irish like to drink.
Yeah, I tell you, I everyone has their opinions on that too. Just like I've had people when I tell them about addiction,
Nope.
you when you talk about someone who's dying from cancer. I brought this up one time. I go, you could see how people react to addiction. If I was to tell somebody, if they see me upset, what's wrong, Manny? And this was just an example I was using. I said, well, I've got a friend who is very sick and isn't going to make it. Oh, what happened? Oh, they're dying from cancer. Oh, that's
Yeah.
terrible. What can I do? Do you need anything? What can I do for them? And okay, thank you. All of a sudden, same scenario. What's the matter, Manny? I've got a friend not doing well, not going to make it. They're dying. Oh, from what? Addiction. Oh, well, that's their choice. Well, wait a minute. In my eyes, it's a disease, and it
It
should
is
be
a
talked
disease.
about. It should be talked about just like with the anger that people talk about cancer, diabetes, MS, ALS, all these autoimmune issues. Throw addiction in there, and don't be embarrassed to say it. And don't. It's when you're talking about it, talk about it with the same anger that people feel about cancer taking a loved one.
Exactly. And
Addiction.
this is why I love going into the prison because I can relate to these girls, and those girls in there are so broken.
Mhm.
And yeah, we all make bad choices. Hell, I've made so many choices. I never got caught. I simply just did not get caught. I'm no better than them, but at least I give them some kind of hope when I keep coming back in every month and just to see them and to
Yep.
talk some encouragement into them. Some of those women are in there and they said it was self-defense. I don't know. I wasn't there. But if they're saying it was self-defense, it was self-defense. I don't know. And it's not for me to judge or anything. My job is to go in there and tell them how I stay sober and how
Yep.
I stay clean one day at a time. And it's by going into the prisons, it's by working with Sisters United, it's by sponsoring. I do go to church, but there is times where Phyllis wants to just say, and I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not perfect. I tried talking myself out of doing this podcast all day today because I thought, shit, I've got nothing to offer.
Oh,
You know?
that happens a lot. I'll have people that'll see a show, and
Yep.
maybe a show prior to theirs, it's some dynamic, crazy story, and I'll have someone say, "Listen, my story is not as dynamic as that." Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's someone's way, and but it's just our stories and just going in and talking and not judging and just
Right.
listening, just listening. That's all you got to do. You don't have to have all the answers because you never will. But all
Mm-mm.
you have to do is have I got a shoulder and I got some ears. You
And
lean on it
sometimes
and start talking.
I don't have all the answers to some of my sponsees, and I have to, direct them someplace else, you know, um, and I don't. I mean, if I had the answers, I'd be, it wouldn't be very nice answers, but to do with their teenage kids that are acting a fool, you know. But that's for them to do. I can make suggestions all day long.
Yeah.
I can make suggestions all day long.
See, and that's exactly, people ask me sometimes, how did you do it? Well, I almost died multiple times and from being shot, stabbed, all these other things. But like for me, I didn't have this happened to me in 2020. COVID shut the world down. I literally got out of the hospital in February, March, when the world was shut down. They
Yeah.
said you need 24/7 inpatient intense therapy. I went and they're like, we're closed. If you have any withdrawal or um, any type of withdrawal or anything, cravings or suicidal thoughts, go to ER. I couldn't go anywhere. I have never gone to one meeting. I'd never had a sponsor because it wasn't there because of COVID shut the world down.
Right.
But by the grace of God, I have never, so I can't sit here and tell someone for what works for me is doing this. For what works for me is when I go on shows and I tell my story
Right.
of how Jerry died in my arms. And Jerry said the same thing to me that I said when I was told I was going to die. By sharing these stories, this is my therapy. This is what works for me. And
Right.
you going into these prisons, it's
And that's
twofold, man. You're
right.
helping
I
people
feel
and
like
they're
I've been
helping you.
promoted.
Yeah.
I was going into the jail for 3 years, and then I got involved with Kairos. And I'm going to and I'm really excited. It's a World Conference Center in Georgia, Augusta, or I don't know. It's like a 5-hour drive from here, but it's worldwide. So that means every state or every country that has Kairos prison ministry will be coming to this conference. And I'm excited. I'm excited because I get to stay in a motel and it's paid for. Okay, like, geez.
You know what, too?
I was telling
Here,
OG, I said, this
Yeah.
damn crap is expensive. Trey used to pay for the gas, the food, the motel room, and we'd spend the night and go get his middle daughter, Braylon. Now grandma's has got to do it. And grandma has dashed her ass off to do this, okay? And $500 for for them not to sleep on the floor. Now they better be nice to grandma, or I'm gonna drown them.
but the thing here I've had when you were talking about going into the jails, I've had
Yeah.
other guests come on and said, here I was a guest at that jail many times. Some of them were locked up in these institutions for years, and now here they are going in as speakers to the exact same places that they were once institutionalized, and it just shows you nothing is impossible, man.
Yeah,
And it
now
feels
you
that
need to
way.
look up a guy named Sober Joseph, and I think that's what he's under. This was my son's roommate in prison, and he is doing phenomenal. I think he's actually, I don't know if he's opened up a halfway house or he's very involved in something. And then when he's also wanting to open up like a clubhouse for addicts that can come there on a Friday night or something and shoot pool or watch movies or have a good dinner or
Mhm.
whatever. And he wants to name that Trey's place.
Oh man, that's
Oh,
awesome.
Oh
wow.
man, all
What's
in
it,
my,
what's it
you
called?
know,
Sober, what,
Sober Joseph. I
sober
wrote it
Joseph.
down.
We got
Sober
it. We already
Joseph.
got it written down. We're gonna look into it.
Yeah, and he's awesome. And I'm having a 1 year I guess celebration of life for Trey this
Mhm.
Saturday, and it's for all Trey's friends that didn't get to come to the funeral, that didn't get a chance, and they've been asking me, are you going to do something? So me and his best friend Cassie got together, and that was Trey's soulmate, best friend. They've been best friends since they were 8 or 9 years old. They're just awesome, and she's helping me put it on. She may or may not be there, and that's okay. And if she's not there, I'm still going to do it because too many people are coming, and Grandma already spent the money on a suite, and we're going to enjoy it. Okay,
And
so it's got
that's
to.
this Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, and I'm probably I might Facebook Live it. I don't know.
You know
You
what? I
know,
was just gonna say.
yeah,
I'm working. But I was just say. I'll definitely be looking for it. But
yeah.
that's a
That's what I'm gonna
great
do. I'm gonna
idea.
Facebook Live it and just say, hey, this is, and I'm
Definitely.
hoping some of his friends will, just kind of reminisce and talk some good memories. I've got
Share
a lot of good
stories.
memories of Trey, a lot of good memories. He was a good cook, really good cook, but he made that spaghetti sauce. I tell you what, I don't know how he ate it. I don't know how anybody ate it, but I paid for it for about 2 days. But it was good. But whew, but
Um,
he
that's
was a
gonna
good
be awesome.
father. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's a good brother. He was a damn good son when he was sober, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. The thing is,
I
it's
tried.
Trey. It's
I
Trey.
tried.
He sometimes people will say stuff the before and after. And I'm just like, don't forget, we're still the same person. I'm still Manny then,
You
uh, during, and now. Same guy,
know,
and I made these mistakes, but so it's not Manny addict, Manny this, Manny. It's still Manny, just like it's Trey, and all those wonderful memories of Trey. It's Trey.
you know,
That's
and
who
I'm
he
so
was.
glad. I had reached out to Pastor TJ before I met y'all, and I had met Pastor TJ like 2 years ago, and I said, yeah, I'm going to lose him. I can't do this anymore. Please try to help him. He's going to send me all the texts. I don't know what happened to him, but he reached out to TJ a couple times. Trey was going to go on the road with him somehow, some way, and be with him. And I feel that Trey was going to, but he just could not get past that pain. His wife is not like us. She is very calm, like a cucumber, and cool, and very level-headed, and she's very frugal with her money, and she gave Trey an incredible life that he well deserved, and I'll forever be grateful for her for that. They gave me a beautiful grandson. That little boy is the sunshine. I love everybody the same, and I tell them that, but Alex,
Here's your
he's
favorite.
he's just
We won't
something.
tell anybody.
But that's okay to have a favorite. Just like
He's just
everyone,
something. Come on,
that's like
Max.
everyone knows who your favorite podcast guy is, right? From
That's
That's
Detroit.
right.
absolutely. See this big old boy, Mary?
Yes. Where's mine? She's she's
Max, you
sneaking.
gonna say hi? Oh, you're not gonna say hi. Okay, you want to lay on my? All right.
No, but I
About
tell
every
you,
between 4 and 5, he thinks it's time for mom to get up and give him a bowl of wet food, and I'm no, I'm not. Now sometimes I shut the door. What does he do? Scratches and meows. I gotta let him in anyway.
I'm telling you, it's. I got a thing on Facebook, and it said, "Dogs have owners, cats have servants," and I was just like, "Yes,
True.
Susie." It's just like, oh my god, oh geez, like that, because I call her my dog, my DAWG, and she goes,
Yeah.
"That dog Susie has a better life than most humans."
Yes, she does.
Oh man,
Full
you know,
rotten. Oh, I've got the food that he absolutely loves now. Of course, it has to be beef with gravy and lots of it, right? Like,
Mhm.
that sounds
like
good
you
to
could,
me.
I'm telling you.
But well, this, like I said, it was such a pleasure just to meet you.
What?
Yeah,
Same.
it's just so mind blowing though. Like I think you saw the shock on my face in
Yeah.
Alabama when we were talking, and we were talking about you being on the first show
Yep.
and how soon it was after the loss of Trey. And because I was literally like, What?" I
Yeah.
remember when we were talking, I was like, I knew it was soon, but I didn't realize it was that soon. And I was just like, I give you so much credit for having the strength. And it was Trey, channeling that through you, and you could just see it,
Yeah.
coming from you. And it
I've
was such a
never felt his presence as strong as I did in Jamaica on that zip line. I don't care if anybody believes it, but
hey,
I felt someone holding me, and I was screaming all the way down, but enjoying it. You
I tell
know?
you, when you told me that story, that's what I was talking about. The look on your face when you were telling me that story, I was literally just sitting there smiling at you. I could just see you were glowing.
Yeah.
You were just absolutely glowing. And it was
I
so
even
nice.
went into a piano bar. Now, you know the piano bar, right? Everyone's in there drinking. There was only a few people in there. I went in there and sat down, and wrote a song, wrote down a piece of paper for him to sing. And he sang Boys to Men for me, Mama, because that was Trey's dedication. Of course, the waterworks. The people
Yeah.
next to me were like, Phyllis, we need to buy you a drink. I said, I'll take a Coke. They said, a Coke? I said, I don't drink, but thank you. I'll take a Coke. Them damn things are expensive. They're like $6.75 on the freaking ship. I'm not paying $6 for a freaking Coke, you
Oh
know?
man.
God,
But
I know next time I better bring like $1,000 to spend, on the virgin pina coladas and all that stuff.
geez,
God,
well, I mean, it was just so nice
Yeah.
Seeing that
So
look on
glad
your
to finally
face,
meet you guys.
it was, the pleasure is all ours, man.
Definitely.
I'm going on Tim's. He's already booked me for, I think it's July 20th.
I tell you, Tim and
Yeah.
Kalisha, I absolutely, because they, we all, when it comes to having guests on the shows, we all kind of interact just to, ask
Yeah.
questions and all that. And as soon
You
as
need to hook you up with Pando again. I'll get the information from B because, man, I'm telling you, the audience will connect with you.
I know we were going to do
And
that.
it's
And I know B,
worldwide. It's in every prison system in the United States. So all you got to do, I think B says like 3 podcasts a week or something. I'm like, well, shit, he does like 30 a day, so he'll be good.
we got B's information, and we're going to be getting a hold of the whole crew. But Phyllis, this was about you and just your story, your journey, and just the strength and perseverance and the love that for you and Trey, and it just shines through. And everything that you do is, and it's him. Sometimes it's almost I could feel him as you're talking. It's like taking over, and it's just very strong, wonderful feeling. Just like when we were talking in Alabama, when I saw that smile on your face, it was Trey smiling with you. And that was very special, and I'm glad. I thank you for letting me share that with you.
Oh, absolutely.
But I tell you what, please keep us informed about
Definitely.
Saturday. No, about Saturday.
I'm probably gonna do a Facebook Live. I think that'd be the best way to do it.
Yep.
So you can see his daughters, because Lacey will be there and Braylon will be there, the little tomboy, and then of course my little redheaded Alex, and then his niece and nephews, and it'll be a good time. So.
Well, I tell you what, keep us informed. I'm going to be working at Harley, plus doing, I don't know what else I'm going to be doing. But hit up OG and let us know. And
I can pop in.
We can pop on there, and love to be part of it with you.
All right, absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Phyllis, love you. Thank you.
Love you.
We'll be seeing you soon, man. We got to get down there. I need some more Southern cooking and Waffle House.
You guys need to try grits. I'm telling you, you just got to try them.
I will.
Lynn, you got to try them. Please try them with. Are you a sweet person, or do you like butter and salt kind of person?
Well, see, I was talking actually about that to my class, because I was teaching some seniors how to exercise today. And I was talking about, because I had to cancel my class last week. Anyway, so they were asking me, I said, well, one of the things they were, feeding us Southern food. And I said, they had grits. I said, but I didn't have any. And the people were saying they taste whatever you put in them, because they they have no taste. It's like you put the spice if you want spicy. If you put sweet, you want sweet.
Yeah,
that's
some
it.
people with sugar, but I'm like,
hey, if it's food, I'll try it.
Okay, fine.
That's what I did on the ship. I tried everything. I thought I was just Misty. What was I eating? Avocado toast with poached eggs. What kind of shit is that?
Now, see, that I can do. That I can do.
See, give me some of that, more of that chicken, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Phyllis, you take care of yourself, and we're going to be looking for you on Saturday.
All right. I love you guys.
Bye, my love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My sister. It's so nice to talk to her. What a sweetie.
And you know what? I was just trying to keep up with people. Lori is there.
Yeah, she said next we take her to Eagles diner. Eagles
that's
Diner.
Fine with me. Fried egg and grits, runny eggs.
Okay.
Katie, how you doing, Katie?
Oh, there's Katie. She snuck by me. I didn't even see her.
Diane Hayes, our little guardian angel. Paul Martinez. Whoa, God, whoa.
Yeah, Whoa was on.
Whoa, baby Whoa. Hope you're doing well with their brother. It's been a long time, man. I hope all is well with you. Sheila, I am always happy to see you, Sheila, and hope things are going good with you. Randy Powers. JD, my brother JD. I don't know if you're still on, man, but thank you guys for everything.
Chocolate gravy and biscuits.
Again, I just want to thank Phyllis for Danny Gibson. Better late than never. I just want to thank Phyllis again for coming on. Again, it is her second time. The first time was very soon after the loss of her son, and I didn't realize how soon it was until we were in Alabama last week. Um, and it was pretty intense when we started talking about that. So it was such an honor meeting. First and foremost, Lori. Um, as soon as we got off the plane, man, there she was, and it's been like I said, there's so much going on, and I do want to thank you guys again um, for all your kind words and stuff. It's a tough day today. Like I said, we did have a loss in our family. My aunt did pass. She's in heaven now, and she's in no pain. She's will be extremely missed. Me and my aunt and my cousins had a very special bond. I was with them a lot growing up. Because of situations, I was able to stay there. They were like my brothers. We grew up together, and along with the rest of the family. But we were always together. Me, my cousin John, Jeff, and Joe, and my aunt Joanne, and Uncle John, and man, the stuff that we got into. Oh, God bless her, man. She had her hands full. Not only with, like I said, there was, Joe was a lot younger. So it was just us three until Joe came along. But then there was four of us, four boys.
Oh boy!
And we went to church together. Can you imagine? Well, they're my cousins, so we're the same, right? So you figure us four, and there was little Aunt Joanne. She kept us in line, and it was a lot of great memories.
Was she always a little person? Because
just very tiny, tiny, tiny.
Small but mighty.
Yeah, she. I remember having this convertible, and she would have the seat all the way up, and then she'd be sitting on, I think, two pillows. But that didn't stop her, boy.
Oh, no.
And I tell you what, Aunt Joanne just lit up everyone's life. The people are starting to share some stories, and it's ever since this happened, I've been just having just flashbacks of spending so many times on Flanagan Street. Was the street that they lived on.
Good memories,
and
good to have good memories
in the pool together, and
yeah. Well, now you're getting lots of thoughts and prayers.
Yeah,
good.
And it was very nice. Just thinking of these memories, and of my aunt and my cousins and everyone. Just awesome. And so thank you guys. Really do appreciate it. And we're going to be sharing some stories, about me and my cousins and some of the mischief we got into. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Phyllis, for coming on and sharing. It was a tough thing to talk about again. I mean, the loss of a child. It's something I can't speak on, but
But then she's paying it forward with what she does. She's taking care of all those women that she does.
So thank you guys so much, and hope you have a great day. I'm not sure when we're going to be going again.
Well, you got family issues. You got to take care of. The family will be patient.
Yeah,
the family loves you. You love them.
Yeah,
it's all good.
And I will be popping on from time to time over the next few days, and we're going to keep things rolling, because that's what family does. And my Aunt Joanne would not have it any other way.
That's right.
So thank you guys, and hope you have a great night. Thank you for Phyllis and everyone in Athens, Alabama. Thank you, Lori. All the incredible people there that made it an incredible weekend.
Nice people.
So you guys take care. Love you. And as always, man, keep fighting the good fight.